back to the channel, guys. What is your name and what are you playing?
My name is Kyle and I'm playing Flame Swordsman.
Interesting. Let's get to the deck profile.
Alright, so deck profile, we run 3 Fighting Flame Swordsman. This card's a must because it's your starter, it's your searcher, it's everything, it's your bread and butter. You don't want this to get ashed, it's your normal summon, but it's got a lot of recursion, it's pretty good. And we run 3 of the Salamandra Flying Flame Dragon. It's really good. It's an equip spell from hand or graveyard. Get you to your Salamandra lineup. It's pretty overall a good card. Might cut it down to 2 to be honest, but you really want to see it in hand, so I might keep it at 3. And then we run 2 Immortal Phoenixes. It's a good boss monster because you'll have Salamander Fusion in the graveyard anyways. So if you draw into this, you don't want to run 3 because it's a pretty hard brick, but running 2 seems to be fine. Ran into it tonight. It's pretty good. It's a negate destroy, pretty easy to summon, big boss monster. Overall pretty good, not going to change that. And then we do run the Witch engine as well, just as a side piece. Talking tonight, might cut this engine down a little bit to add a few more hand traps, as you'll see. Maybe down to 2, and then some of the Witch cards, just because I draw into it too much and you don't want to see multiple Witch, you want to see more of your engine and the hand traps to kind of stop your opponent more. Something I learned tonight is definitely, this deck is pretty good the way it is now, but after the changes we definitely want more stopping power to the opponent, i.e. more hand traps. And then we just go right now to Ash Blossom, and then we go 3 Effect Veiler. Ash, I might side out just because there's a lot of Fire Kings, Snake Eyes running around, and Hita's pretty prevalent, so might switch these for Droll. Ghost Spell is pretty popular right now, I know that affects a lot of decks, but you gotta be careful with Ash running around.
Okay, now for the spells.
We'll go 3 of the Fighting Flame Sword. This is essential. This has got to be at 3 just because it has the 3 effects. First one is the search for the Fighting Flame Swordsman. You can quick play it during the draw phase. That way you don't get drolled, protects you. The other 2 effects, basically if a monster target negates one of your Flame Swordsmen, you can use this card and negate that effect, so it's protection. And then the other effect, which I think is crazy, if a Flame Swordsman basically, or a Fire Warrior monster enters battle and declares an attack on a warrior monster you control, you can use this card and it will destroy a card on the field. Then we run 3 of the Flame Swords Realm. This card is nice because it protects the Flame Swordsman. If you hard draw into this, which you want to every time, you'll set this and then Fighting Flame Swordsman set, because that'll protect you and you can't get Ash because they can't interact with the normal summon. Okay. And then the other effects are just really nice because it gets you into your OG Flame Swordsman, and then you can quickly swing for game because you target a warrior you control. It loses 1,000, but all other monsters you gain, all monsters you control gain 1,000. So you can this is a very hard swing for game deck.
Okay.
Then we run 2 of the Salamander Fusions. This is an equip spell, but it's how you get to the big guy pretty quickly. It's an equip spell that you can keep, and it'll add 700 attack, but you usually just end up using this to get to the big guy, and then like I said, will always be in graveyard, and then you'll use that to get to the Immortal Phoenix Gearfriend, banish this, get this guy out for free. It's really fun, really easy. Okay. And then we go run Reinforcement of the Army. That's going to have to be standard. Every deck that ever plays this, or warrior deck, this is a must. And then as a side choice, I put in the Warrior Returning Alive, just because if you end up drawing this and they stopped you and hard stopped you, and you got the Swordsman in your graveyard, you can get in it, or you can add Gearfried back to hand if they got that in your graveyard. It just gets a warrior back to hand. It's pretty nice to start your combo all over again. Might cut it because it's pretty niche though.
Okay.
And then for that, so that's pretty much all the Flame Swordsman stuff. Then we'll go on to everyone's favorite, the Diabellstar package.
Of course.
Running 3 Wanted. Probably keep this at 3 and cut 1 Witch, just because seeing this ain't the worst thing in the world, because if you hard draw into this, quick play, you can start that in the draw phase and people will think, I know what he's running, and then they'll ash this to stop it, but little do you know, you probably have a whole nother swordsman card to follow up with.
Okay.
So it's pretty nice. Free draws as well. Run into it quite often. It's pretty nice. Number one dramatic snake eye chase. It basically is like a fourth wanted. Gets you Diabellstar, but I'm seeing too much of the Diabellstar stuff, so I'm probably definitely going to cut this out. Add in some more hand traps, more stopping power for the deck. Then we run one subversion. This is a must because she can set this at any time your opponent's turn, on your turn for setup, going second. It's nice to get a non-targeting removal from the game. Target their boss monster, put it to the back row, Mirror Jade, you know, don't have to deal with it anymore. It's pretty nice. It's a must. And then Sinful Spoils of Doom. This I feel like is another must because if they stop you and you have Diabellstar and you set this, you don't really have any follow-up, but just like a lot of hand traps or your hand isn't the best, she can set this and this will nuke your opponent's board. Most things are 2,500 attack or less, so it's pretty nice. And then she's protected from all monster effects anyways, so she can't be, you know, done away with. So it's pretty nice.
Okay.
And then we run 2 thrusts just because this deck runs a whole lot of spells, a whole lot of traps. I'll use this if I draw into one of these and, you know, they ash me or droll me or whatever. I'll use it to get into one of like the normal traps, which we have a lot of. Or you can even, if you don't have a whole lot of follow-up, you can grab an imperm off of it. So it's pretty nice. It's definitely niche, but you can definitely use this to grab more of your like Flame Swordsman traps and all that stuff for follow-up. So it's pretty nice. And that's all the spells that we run in this deck right now. Do traps. So traps for this engine, we go 3 Flame Swordsman, or Flame Swords Dance, I'm sorry. This, you don't mind hard drawing into, because this, when your opponent special summons a monster, you can Book of Moon one of theirs, or one of yours, it doesn't really matter. It's a Book of Moon, you get an OG Flame Swordsman out, and then during the battle phase, you can tribute a face-down monster, and you can just OG, get the Flame Swordsman out. This is an easy way to get the big guy out, because if you get the big guy out during the damage step, then they're forced to deal with that, and it just becomes a threat to them that they don't really know how to deal with. Plus, if you Book of Moon one of their key component monsters, they can't fusion, they can't link, whatever, it's pretty fine. Pretty similar Salamander with Chain. These are all searchable with the engine. I only run 2 of these because it's a little bit more niche. You don't really want to see a whole lot of it. These are all once per turn, but same thing, it targets a fire on the field. So if you run into like Snake Eye Fire King or Snake Eye, you can equip this to one of their cards and Book of Moon a card on the field. So if they summon out their Flamberge, you can equip this to Flamberge, Book of Moon Flamberge, or one of the little guys. Works out pretty well. And then its secondary effect is you can banish this card and then you can shuffle the materials for a fusion monster back into your deck. So I'll use this to get out, like, depending on what the duel is like, you can actually get OG Flame Swordsman out with this, depending on what your graveyard looks like. So this is actually a pretty nice card to have. Only run 2 of because it's kind of niche. And then just some side pieces. So we run 1 Silvera just because it's nice. You can set this if you don't really have an ideal hand to stop your opponent. This will tribute Diabellstar, and because she went to the graveyard on your opponent's turn, you can set a card from your field or hand, get her back, set another card for follow-up. That card is negated. It's pretty nice. Probably will keep this because it's just a good overall negation, especially for like field spells or continuous spells or whatever the case might be. And then of course standard 3 Imperm. Everybody should be running 3 Imperm.
Yes, sir.
Use your Imperms first so you don't get triple tactics talented or thrusted. So Imperm is definitely a must.
Okay.
So I run 3 of the big guys.
Okay.
I run 3 just because there's multiple ways to get him out. You can get him through the standard combo line. You can get him with the Salamander with Chain. Just banish and then fusion him out. You can get Swords Dance, get him out. So you definitely want to run 3 of. I was running 2, but I ran into situations where like this is your guy. Like this is the boss monster. So you would definitely want to have maximum usage of him. It's pretty nice. And then his effects are just insane, being able to double attack during the damage step. So if you get him out during your opponent's damage step, they're forced to deal with him. Pretty nice. So yeah, 3, that's pretty nice. We run 2 of the Fighting Flame Dragons. This is actually pretty easy to fusion out with the Chain. just because you got to shuffle in one dragon monster and one warrior monster, which the Salamandra dragon is a dragon, and then warrior, you have plenty of warriors to shuffle in, so it's pretty easy to get him out. And then quick effect, if it's on the field or in graveyard, you can target a fusion warrior monster you control. So if you have this on the field, then you can target the OG Flame Swordsman. He gains a buttload of attack, and then they're forced to deal with like an 8,400 body that they can either attack into, or you know, you basically might win that battle phase because they won't want to do anything, so you're safe. And then an absolute must, 3 Flame Swordsman. You absolutely, every duel I always go through all 3, whether it be just getting him out and the opponent got rid of it, or what has it, because this is your Flame Swordsman, and if these go both to the graveyard, you can Salamander Chain these out, because this is the material for the big guy. Get the big guy out, it's pretty easy. So the deck is pretty resilient, it's pretty nice, and then of course with the other extra deck pieces you have a lot of options. That's pretty much standard what you're going to run, and then just a few little side choices I chose to run. Princess, generic as hell, it's a lot of fun. Everything we run in this deck is fire, so you can choose anything. You can even get the big boss guy out pretty easy. SP, standard, everyone should be running this. It's busted beyond belief, pretty easy to get into, and especially because we have a lot of fusions, you have a lot of material. Dark Charmer, because we do run into the Selene and access code package.
Okay.
And this is pretty easy to get into because with the engine that I have now, you get a lot of witches out into the field, a lot of bodies. Pretty easy to climb into. You can use your opponent's monsters as well, because a lot of the most common card is dark, so it's pretty easy to climb up into. And then Selene, and with the amount of spells that we run, I mean, you'll probably have enough, and your opponent will have enough to easily get either Charmer or Witch back onto the field, special summon, and then you can set with Witch. Typhon, absolute must. This is the end-all be-all, just in case shit hits the fan. Get this guy out, shut down your opponent's monsters. A lot of times if they have an Apple on the field, I'll try to do as much as I can. They'll negate, just swing into Apple with this, get rid, or just get rid of SP, and then you can get rid of some pretty big boss monsters with this non-targeting.
Okay.
And then for the last one, kind of niche, but a lot of fun, is the Flame Swordsman link. It's a lot of fun because you can get warriors back. He gives all your warriors a boost. So again, the whole point of the deck is to swing for game in one turn. But what I need to focus on a little bit more with this deck is, as far as the profile goes, more negation to set up the board where your opponent doesn't have a board, and you're able to just get like 1 or 2 pieces, and then you're able to just swing for game, because there'll be a lot of times where you can just swing for 7k basic, and then if you have another monster, boom, that's it. Yeah, that's the deck profile.
All right, thank you very much, Kyle. Hope you see you around this channel. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. Go subscribe.
All right, man.
Peace out.